So, now we get to karma yoga. We'll jump to 47. You have a right to perform your duty. Dharma. Dharma is righteous duty. People have many dharmas, not just one. You have a professional dharma, you have a husband dharma, you have a wife dharma, you have if you're let's say you're married, then you have a dharma to the wife or husband, but you have your own parents, you have a dharma to your parents, that's different. Then you have dharma to your children, that's different again. Then you have dharma in society, professional dharma, you have all these dharmas, so not just one person doesn't just have one, multiple dharmas. You have a dharma to the planets, you have a dharma to the forefathers, you have a dharma to all living entities. So you have a right to perform your dharmas, your duties. You don't have to run off to the forest. But you are not entitled to the results. If you want to be a yogi, you act without desire for results. The results will come, but you're not attached to them. This is what determines. This is what makes karma. Karma is action, but one is attached to the results. So then if you're attached to results, then you're attached to the karmic consequences of your actions. But karma yoga is duty for the sake of duty, without thinking, what am I getting out of it? Results will come. Obviously, if you act in the world, there'll be effects, but there's no contemplation of, I'll get this and I'll get that. Then that same karma, the same action becomes yoga. So it's not the action that has to be given. This is the point. This is the point. Krishna's going to stress it. I'll say it slowly. It's not the action that has to be given up. Many yogis running off to the forest are giving up action. Krishna says you don't have to give up the action. You have to give up the desire for the result of action. You act simply out of duty. And later on he's going to talk about acting as an offering to bhakti. Okay, we'll get to that in a future session. So never allow, we're on 47, never allow the fruits, the results of an action to be your motivation. And never be attached to inaction. Don't be attached to inaction. Act, but give up the attachment to the fruit. Give up attachment to the fruits. 48. Become fixed in the discipline of yoga and perform your duty. Fixed in yoga, always thinking of the Atman, always understanding. My goal of life is to seek the Atman, not to try to enjoy this body-mind, because I'm not the body-mind. I can never find happiness through body-mind. So perform your duty, abandon attachment, same message, and become equal in successful failure. If you are not attached to the fruits, then whatever comes, as long as you've done your duty to the best of your ability, it's equal. Summit, successful failure. Let others talk about successful failure. The yogi, it's simply done the duty and whatever. And if you're really not attached to the results, how do you know you're not attached? Because then you won't be happy or sad, depending on whether the success or failure. Very simple way of knowing. O conqueror of wealth, such a balance is called yoga. Samatvam yoga uchame. So that's a definition of yoga here. It's not like Patanjali. Pay attention to that. That's the kind of question we might put on the quiz. What is yoga in the Gita? How is it defined? Well, here it is defined in 48. Samatvam. He calls it balance. You can call it equanimity. What is balance? Whether you're successful or your actions succeed or fail in the world, as long as you've done them to the best of your ability, you're content that you've done your duty. So there's no balance. There's no up and down. Normally, if you are successful, you're happy. If you fail, you're sad. None of that. So verse 49, action performed with discipline of intellect is far superior to ordinary action. Discipline the mind, not act out of desire, that's discipline. Normally we act out of desire to try to control that. So it's just the same work. You have to do the same work as any other yogi of controlling desire. But one does that work in the world of action and not in a forest, renouncing the world. So, seek shelter and enlightenment. Let's jump to 50. Those whose intellects are disciplined, fixed on the Atman, the yukta, rid themselves of both good and evil actions in the world. There's no karma. There's no good or bad reactions if one acts without desire. That action burns any fruit that might accrue. So there's no, how does he put it? Rid themselves of both good and evil. You don't want good or evil. You don't want good karma either, because then you get a good birth. But still, even the best birth, remember Patanjali says, still subject to old age, and it's still temporary. So, strive for the discipline of yoga, which is the perfection of all work. Do work as a yogi. I'm embodied. I'm not really this. This is how the yogi thinks. I'm an Atman. Goal of my life to seek the Atman. But, I have this body because of my karma, and I have to, I'm trapped in this body for the duration of my life. So I'll use this body to do whatever my natural duty is, whatever is natural from this kind of body that I have, this kind of mind that I have. It lends itself best to a certain type of action. Dharma, duty, work in the world, I'll do that, but without attachment to the results. Rich, poor, famous, not famous, I'll just do my duty. If one really can manage that, then that is yoga, and when Krishna says, you'll attain a perfection. So, 51. The wise, whose intellects are disciplined. Right? What does that mean, disciplined? They're always absorbed in contemplating the Atman. Who are freed from the bonds of birth, because they're not making any fresh karma. Because karma is generated by desire for the fruit. Action itself with no desire, if it's dharmic action, it doesn't generate. Well, the effects it generates is to burn karma. So it does have an effect, but it's a yogic effect, a good effect, a positive effect from a yogic point of view. So the wise, they give up attachment to the fruits of work and attain to the state which is free of suffering. Right? Ultimately, it's about being free of suffering. Remember Patanjali 18. For the wise, see everything as suffering. And then seek the cause. And we had the whole section in the Yoga Sutra. What is the real cause of suffering? The deep level cause. It's the embodiment itself, the coming together of the sea and the sea.